Camera 1, rolling audio.
Rolling camera 2, camera 3 is rolling.
Production camera GoPro rolling. Brandon, slate us in.
Strategic planning interview.
Come up a little
under
bit.
his chin.
Right under his chin.
Strategic planning interview.
Your arm's in the way.
There you go.
Strategic planning interview. Scene 1, take 1.
Hit it again. Stay there with it next time.
Hello everybody, this is Brian Smith with Atlantic Health Marketing Team. I'm here today with Dr. Dean Padovan, a sports medicine doctor here for Atlantic Health, as well as a team physician for the New York Jets. Thank you, doctor, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
So, doctor, we've had some intense heat this summer. What are some ways people can stay active, yet safe during this summer heat?
Yeah, really important question. So, we're really into hydration here, so it's very, very important to make sure that you're continuously drinking. One of the general rules of thumb that we have is every 15 minutes, if you're exercising, have a cup of water. If you're a really kind of salty sweater, if you know that you sweat a lot, you may need to kind of increase your water intake a little bit. Other safe tips are, make sure you're wearing that sunscreen, particularly if you're going out in the heavy sunlight. Try to maybe avoid the really kind of peak times of sunlight, just to make sure that you're not getting super overheated. So maybe when the sun goes down a little bit, or maybe a little bit more in the morning. But those are some of the tips that we always tell our patients and our athletes.
So regarding sunlight, do you have a specific SPF that you would recommend to the users at home? Because I know that my mother always told me put on like 80 or 90, but is there like a 50 or like a general average that you would use?
Yeah, I think we kind of listen to the dermatology guidelines, and they recommend that you should be using a SPF greater than 30. So as long as you're using an SPF greater than 30, that's what we recommend.
So with high school sports just around the corner, and myself a high school athlete not that far removed, I've noticed a tendency of high school athletes honing in on just one sport nowadays and training that same sport year-round. Because of this, do you notice newer injuries because of this? Because they're training the same muscles year-round versus a variety of sports?
Yeah, it's a really kind of controversial topic. Every year at our National Sports Medicine Conference, they talk about sports specialization and whether it's good or not. And in fact, a lot of the data that's coming out tells us that sports specialization is not a good thing. We are seeing some increased injuries, but more importantly, we're seeing a lot of burnout in our youth athletes because they're just doing one sport. This is so much different than when I grew up. People are playing high school sports, they're playing in travel leagues, they're playing in so many leagues that, and if it's just one sport, we know that it's kind of not healthy. So we try to make sure and encourage, especially our youth, to play as many sports as possible.
That's great. So, switching from high school sports to pro sports, as a physician for the New York Jets, how wide is the gap in training levels between high school sports and professional sports?
Yeah, if I had to answer that question years ago, I'd say the gap is humongous. But now, that gap is more narrow than people would think. Clearly, at the professional level, we have a lot more resources, right? So we have a lot more coaches, we have a lot more athletic training staff, strength staff. But, I take care of high schools as well, and on the high school sideline, I always smile thinking that there's at least 10 coaches with headsets, all mic'd in. They have nutritionists, they have physical therapists, things that we never had on the sideline when I was in high school. And of course, the Jets have tremendous more resources. They have better weight room and equipment, but that gap is narrowing. Besides, of course, the financial component and the level of support at that level.
Perfect. So, do you have any tips that you would like to give to the everyday athlete who is just trying to stay in shape, trying to get on track, trying to get that that toned body that they're going for?
Yeah, so set goals. I think setting goals is always very, very positive. Don't set unrealistic goals. It's always hard to say that I want to work out and I want to lose 150 pounds. It's a little bit difficult to do that. So set small, realistic goals and ask for advice. Ask your primary care doctor, ask your friends. If you know that you have some deficiencies, like you're really, really tight in terms of your muscles, it's always a good idea to work with a physical therapist, sometimes a personal trainer. So there's so many people who can kind of give the proper advice to try to get you in the shape that you want to. You just have to kind of know the person to speak to.
Thank you, Dr. Panavan, for joining us today. That was some great information that we're happy to share with our viewers at home. And thank you everyone who watched. We'll be sure to catch you next time.